G'day, I'm Kama.
And I'm Blowy.
It's the Kama and Blowy Show.
Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy, walking and talking. Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy.
Good morning, Kama. How are you?
G'day, Blowy. It looks like I'm in a disaster zone here. I'm in the bamboo field I love, and all this bamboo has gone from from one side of the road to the other. It's crazy. We've had so much rain here. It's been like we got evacuated earlier this week. We went and stayed with some of my wife's distant relatives. It's been absolute chaos, and they've also had all these extra new. Well, up until now we didn't have any COVID cases, and just in the last week they found like about 5 of them, and then that number doubled within a few days, but it seems to have settled down now. They seem to have contained everyone. But yeah, it's just been chaos.
Chaos, yeah, with capital K.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm here with in the Maribyrnong River, and it's looking quite nice today. If you won't be able to see right now, but when you do get to see, you'll see how nice it is. We're about to have a storm here as well, so it's spitting a little bit, but it's not too bad. So I thought I'd take out the mountain bike today and go for a bit of a ride along the tracks. We've in Victoria, in Melbourne, CBD, we've been put back onto lockdown. So you're still allowed to exercise. We're in lockdown for 6 weeks. You're still allowed to exercise. You're allowed to go out for essential items like food and stuff like that. We also you're allowed to go out if you have to work, but I'm going to be working from home. Yeah, so another 6 weeks of lockdown, because they found yesterday there was another 300 cases here in Melbourne, so it's not good.
Yeah, so I guess I should count myself pretty lucky. But we didn't have the kids in school all week either. We took them out. But as you know, Joe, I often go past sweet potato farms, and this sweet potato farm has basically been covered here by this bamboo that came from across the road. This huge chunk of earth has just been taken out and washed across the road. And this road, I'm sure, was closed for a while. It looks like it's just been reopened. They bulldozed all this stuff. So there's all this wild bamboo that's kind of just been upended and gone to the opposite side of the road, because there never used to be bamboo on this side of the road.
It would take a bit of energy to uproot bamboo, wouldn't it?
Uproot some bamboo. Yeah, well, I mean, the root system I don't think is too deep, but what someone explained it to me here was, because like we're in a volcanic area, there's lots of ash and stuff like underneath, and so once it gets waterlogged, it doesn't take that much for these landslides to occur. And so that was kind of like the biggest fear in our area, that there would be landslides. Yeah,
well, you can tell when there's lots of mountains and loose soil. That's a perfect recipe for a landslide, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. So that's what I guess, because we're up pretty high where we live. So that was one of our fears. But anyway, so we've got this happening, and there's also like an article I was reading the other day saying that nearby, I think it's about 45 k's away, Sakurajima, it's Japan's most active volcano. And they said this year so far it's been pretty quiet, and that could be a sign that it's going to have a big eruption soon. So if that happens, we're really in trouble. And last thing on as well is that my wife is about 3 weeks away from giving birth to our 3rd child. So yeah, it's been a crazy week, and I think we had about 2 of these we'd lined up, hadn't we, Joe, like to record this session, but we had to postpone it because of all this craziness, mainly at my end.
That's right. I need an excuse to get out of the house now, so these podcasts are a godsend.
I just got a message from a friend, and he asked me, is the Kama and Blowy podcast the most self-indulgent thing you've ever done?
And what are you going to reply?
I said no, because I'm sure we've done more self-indulgent things.
That's right.
But anyway, haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. That's right, Tay. So, well, what do we want to self-indulge in today, Kama?
Yeah, this week, clowning.
Now it looks like someone is trying to interrupt the Kama and Blowy podcast.
I've lost
Let
Blowy.
me just get rid of them. You there, Kama?
I got your back. Yeah, I got your back.
Yeah, someone was trying to call me, but
They can't interrupt the podcast.
They're trying to interrupt. I've got to put on plane mode or something.
We're going to talk about clowning today. Clowning. So, Blowy and I have worked as clowns, but let's go right back to the start. I just entered university, and this would have been about mid-98. Do you remember what you were doing for part-time work at that stage, Blowy?
No, I would have been working at a chicken shop at that stage. What have we got? We lost Kama. You there, Kama?
Yeah, I'm here.
We're not having much luck today with...
I think it's all at my end. I've noticed that my network's going onto the 3G instead of the 4G.
Can you hear me,
network.
Kama?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Blowy can't
Hello,
hear
Kama.
me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear, Blowy. I can hear you loud and clear, but it sounds like you can't hear me.
Nah. Can you hear me?
I might have to head back up. I think it's a problem down in this valley.
Can you hear me, Kama?
Any luck, Blowy? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Kama? Hello?
Yep. Can you hear me? Yes. Hello.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Blowy, I was just saying, I think I walked into a black spot, so I'm not going to walk down that road anymore.
No, it sounds like...
I don't know if this is a problem because of the storms and infrastructure's gone down or what, but when I first tried calling you 20 minutes ago, I was down that road near the river. I just wanted to show you the raging river, but I don't think that will be possible today.
Yeah, maybe you can get some footage and put it at the end.
Ah, good idea. Good idea.
I'm a thinker. Ideas man, they call me.
That's right. Yeah. So you were working at a chicken shop, and I know I had been selling soap at the markets in town on Saturday mornings, and then working in a news agency as well. But it wasn't very. I mean, there were regular hours, but I needed a few more hours, so I was looking for more work. And I just started university, and they had like a jobs board there. And I was looking through all the listings, and one caught my eye. It said they were looking for clowns and children's entertainers. And I was like, oh yeah. So I wrote the number down, and I remember going back to our home, and you were there. I said, oh, guess what job I'm going for? I told you the clowning bit. Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told you I was going to be a clown, and you were like, what? I would like to do it as well. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they said they're looking for clowns, so could be more. And our other mate, Woody, was there as well, and he was also interested. So I'm pretty sure the three of us all went in together. Do you remember the interview, Blowy? The
interview. Look, I'm just something else I want to say quickly is this is sounding like a bit of a trend, isn't it? You're coming home with jobs, and I'm saying, can I do it as well? Like the previous episode.
Yeah, that's all right, Blowy. I'm your big brother. That's my job.
Yeah, thanks. You're my talent scout.
Yeah, I don't even take a fee.
No fee. Yeah. Yeah. So the interview. Cool. Remind me, Kama.
Okay, well, I remember making a call and saying, hey, I saw the ad at the university. Are there still positions? Because, yeah, why don't you come in? I said, okay, it's also my brother and a friend. She said, oh, great, bring them all in. And I don't remember if Woody came with us, but I know you did. But we went there, and at some point, another friend, Snaz, as well, I think came along. But I'm not sure if it was just two of us at the interview, but it was less of an interview and more of a training session. Like, I don't know how desperate they were for clowns, but there wasn't really even any question that we got the job. There was just like, okay, I'll show you how to make some balloon animals. And these are the basic face painting templates. And I think we had to do a trial though.
I think we actually had to go do a party, and they didn't pay us. That was a trial. And we went along with another clown, and they watched us and made sure that we weren't total idiots. Yeah, so it's got a free clown for the session.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, for me, like, entertaining children was never an issue. I could always do that. And I could take the piss out of myself, and there was no problem being a clown, but keeping them organized and everything, that was a whole new skill set I think I had to get.
And you didn't have your license at this stage.
Oh, I didn't have my license for a long time.
Yeah, so I had a car and a license, which was one of the prerequisites, but I think they liked you so much that they let that one slide and put you as a second clown, so who tagged along with everyone.
That's right, because I could never do jobs by myself. I always had to go with someone else, unless they were in the shop. Because they had a little shop where the kids could go and have their parties. But normally we were going out to kids' parties. It's kind of like an hour and a half. You'd show up in costume, and you'd have all the name of the people and how much you had to collect at the end on a piece of paper. And also there was a preference if you wanted to be a clown or a Batman or some other character that they could choose from. And
We've lost Kama again here.
Blowy's got another call, I think.
This keeps happening.
Okay, I've lost Blowy again.
Let's see, as I get the top here.
This is crazy. We've lost Blowy, just as we're talking.
We're not having much luck with technology today.
This is going to be an interesting episode to edit, I think.
A lot of infrastructure that's fallen down. So I'm just going to get back on the call with Kama. Here he comes. You there, Kama?
Yeah. Did someone call you?
No, it just must have cut out. Don't know what happened. But that's right. I kept talking, and I've continued recording. Hopefully you did too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so you used to tag along, and also the little shop that we're talking about was it was painted with stars and stuff like that to look like a fairy wonderland type of thing. There was quite a few parties there at the beginning, but then it turned less and less at the shop and more going out to the parties, to the people's houses. I think it was a lot easier for the company to do that because they didn't have to clean up and get the kids. There wasn't that much parking around, and I think people started like kids compete about having the best party at the house, as I'm sure many people know.
Yeah. I remember as well, like our friend Snaz worked with us for a little while, and he told me that the worst part of the job, like he was pretty good at being a clown, but the worst part for him was when you'd ask for the money. And I completely understood because they weren't cheap. They were quite expensive parties, but I mean, it wasn't as if we were getting much of that pay, like we were on an hourly rate. And another thing about the system that I didn't like was that like we don't normally get given like two parties like on a Saturday. It might be one in the morning at 10 o'clock and then one at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so, but we wouldn't be getting paid for all that time because there'd be a bit of a gap between those two parties. You couldn't really do anything in that time, but you weren't getting paid for it either. So we get kind of paid for the party time. We'd also get like an hour before the party to set up and getting their kind of hours wages.
That's right, and 1 hour's wage, just to put it in perspective, would be like we'd go out to Subway or some fast food joint to get lunch, and that was like because you had to wait in between, and that was basically the whole first party's wage spent on your lunch.
Yeah, it wasn't very much, was it?
So I think we ended up snacking on the lolly bags, and we just ate lollies.
Which doesn't really ease the hunger, does it?
Oh, it just makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Snaz really struggled getting these, asking for the money, and I understood because I'll give you an idea of how it would go. So on the bottom of our sheet, it would be, the price for the party, and it's normally like $250 or $300 or whatever. And what from that were we getting what, $10 an hour?
Yeah, $10 an hour.
$10 an hour, so we were maybe getting $25 or something.
You'd get $10 for the hour.
Yeah.
And then you'd, I think they'd pay us for an extra half an hour for travel or something, maybe.
I remember the 1 hour before the party, that was all the extra we got, I believe, for setup and getting there.
And then we'd get $5 for using your car and petrol and stuff.
Well, I didn't get that because I wasn't driving.
Exactly, but $5 to drive, return, like 1 hour drive there, hour drive back, isn't a very good deal. Try catch a taxi and give them $5 for an hour drive, 2 hour drive.
Yeah. But so at the end of the party, even after you've finished all the games, unwrapped all the presents, and you go and say thank you to the parents, and normally the parents were good and they say, oh yeah, thank you, that was fun. And you know, we got a lot of people saying, oh, we'll get you next year as well. You guys were great. Like I really hate tooting my own horn, but I was a bloody good clown, and you were too. And when we worked as a team, there was nothing we couldn't conquer.
We were unstoppable.
We were.
And everyone used to, we gave ourselves names. We thought, oh, all right, we got to stand out from the group, and we gave ourselves names. It's a bit of a marketing ploy, and I was Lufus or Doofus, one of us was Lufus.
Yeah, you were Lufus, I was Doofus.
And people would ask for us. They go, oh, we want Lufus or Doofus. And, oh, they're pretty high demand. They probably charge extra for us.
Yeah, probably. Not that we saw the money.
No, there's probably a surcharge. Oh, yep, you got to pay the 30% surcharge on the Lufus and Doofus. But yeah, sure, we can sort that out.
Anyway, going back to getting the money. So at the end, most parents would say, oh, you know, oh, thanks, you guys were great. The kids loved you. And that's right, we're going to fix you up, don't we? And they'd made the booking, so they knew exactly how much it cost. And they'd come and give you, normally they had the right amount prepared. So most of the time it wasn't a problem. But every now and then you get people who go, oh, you'd kind of be standing around, and then eventually you'd have to say, okay, well, thanks for having us. We're going to have to go now. I go, yeah, great, thanks. Catch you later. I'm like, oh, we just have to grab the payment as well, please. And he goes, oh, okay. Now, how much was that? How much was that? And you kind of, I kind of knew before I went out as well, but I'd look down at the piece of paper and I'd say, okay, yeah, they've said it's $2.50. Oh, that's steep, mate. You guys are rolling in it.
They're like, oh, mate, you're going to have a few drinks tonight, aren't you? You're going to have a bit of lobster tonight, mate. Enjoy your lobster.
I felt it was unprofessional of us to say, you know, mate, we're not seeing much of this money. So I would normally just chuckle at that joke and then thank them for the money when they put it in. But sometimes they really dilly-dallied, and you'd see them talking to something like, you know, I've got to get back and do some other stuff as well. And so that's not factored into the calculations either. And yeah, that was, so I understood what he was talking about, because it was never, I really hated bringing up the money. The clowning bit, I was completely happy to be a complete idiot and run around, use all my energy and keep the kids entertained. But asking for the money,
Come on to show you something here.
Yeah.
I've just I've rode up to the top of this big the big hill here, and you can see the city line in the background there, Melbourne. Beautiful view here, and then down here that's the old weapons factory, which they're going to knock. Well, I think they're gonna. It's all heritage listed, so they're gonna build 3,000 houses or something amongst there. So that'll be pretty cool. And that's the mighty Maribyrnong River, which goes all the way down there, and then it's beautiful. But I want to tell you, Kama, about my worst party that I ever did.
Oh yeah.
Like you'd get some really good parties and you'd get some really bad parties, and for me, what would determine the party would be the kids. Now, I've been to some parties, like we wouldn't always get dressed up as clowns. We'd sometimes get dressed up as different animals and insects, and we had a grasshopper outfit. There was clowns. There were like Star Wars characters like Darth Maul, or I think I did Luke Skywalker once. And the kids got to choose what they wanted, but for some reason, I went to this kids party who was only 2 years old. Now, I was dressed up as a clown, and the kid was terrified of clowns. And so like they could have chose something a bit nice, like a princess or something like that, but they chose a clown. The kid was terrified. It was in their house, and they had a small house, and they did it in their living room, and they had just their family there. So there was like about three kids. One of them was an infant, and there was like another kid, and the kid was, and the party boy who was 2. And I walked in, and the kid started screaming and wouldn't go near me. And I'm trying to play the games, and they go, "Nah, mate, this one's not working. Let's go on to the next one." I'm like, "Oh, do you want to?" All right. And they would choose before whether they wanted balloon animals or face painting. There was either or, because the price wouldn't allow for both of those in the one. But I'm like, no, I pulled out both of them. I was willing to do balloon animals, but he was scared of balloons. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to try face painting now. This has to be it. Try to face paint. Nah, he doesn't want any face paint on his face. Get away from him. And I'm like, all right, let's play pass the parcel. And they're like, the kids were too young to even know how to do it. And there was only one kid that was probably old enough. And if you know pass the parcel, it's when you sit in a circle and you've got to pass the parcel and stop the music. And when there's only one kid playing, it doesn't work. Because I'm not allowed to open the parcel, but so the kid got it every single time, and it kind of took the fun away from it. And then once, I had to do it for an hour, and I'm just like, mate, I was talking to the parents, and they're like, mate, this is tough, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah.
At least they understood though, like at least they weren't like, come on mate.
That's what I thought. And they're like, mate, do you want to just have a hot dog, mate? You want a beer and a hot dog? And I'm like, oh, I'll have a hot dog, thanks. I'm driving, I can't drink. So I had a hot dog and just sat there and talked to them for try to tell jokes to the parents and entertain them a little bit. And then I left and I was like so deflated, and I'm like, oh, at least they were cool about it. And then next week when I went in to work, the boss said to me, oh, Joe, we had a complaint that you were the worst clown ever. And I'm like, what? I'm like, who from? And she told me the address. And I'm like, are you serious? That was the 2-year-old kid where there was 3 people at the party and they all hated clowns. It's like, it wasn't really my fault. They go, oh, you just got to pick it up a little bit next time, you know. And I'm like, nah, this is unwarranted feedback.
Yeah.
The feedback should be on you for sending me to that party.
And normally, when they make the booking, they're quite clear about that. They say, look, kids are scared of clowns. What we recommend if you do want a clown is just to do minimal makeup, so it still looks very human. We don't do the whole, white base on the face, or they were normally quite good at doing that. So, but sometimes the parents are insistent, no, we're paying good money, we want the whole hog.
Nah, he'll be right. He'll be right.
Yeah.
It's like, no. And that's the worst when there's only 3 people at a party. You need lots of kids to start running around and going crazy, because we were good at that as well, weren't we? Where we would get the kids so riled up, and then when we'd leave, they'd be all hypo, and we'd go, all right, you can deal with this now.
That was another story actually. We got called in for the opening of a large hardware store, and on our first afternoon there was a complaint made against us because we basically had this whole group of probably 20 kids, and we were just running around the hardware store going absolutely crazy. And we thought, this is awesome, we can just go nuts because we've got these clown uniforms on, no one tells us to stop.
Yeah, we can just make a funny joke and then go, ha ha ha, no, I'm a clown.
But I remember the next days, because we did a few of those hardware store openings, and they were pretty rough because you'd be doing a morning, you'd kind of do a morning as maybe face painting, and then an afternoon doing balloon animals. And when you do 3 or 4 hours of balloon animals, you don't realize, but you're just getting blisters on certain bits of your knuckles because just the way you tie the balloons.
Oh, your fingers are red raw. They're red raw.
Yeah.
And you know that some kid cracked their head open because they were running around chasing us?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, some kid cracked their head open. That's why we got in trouble, because some kid slipped over and cracked their head.
They should have kept their floors, maybe. Well, I don't want to say.
No, I think that was it. I think we got to take responsibility for that one, Kama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember one of the most crazy experiences we had as clowns was after one of these events, and we just finished for the day, and we're at the Gold Coast, so we said let's go for a swim. And this happened at the same time that schoolies was on. Now schoolies, for people who don't know, it's kind of like a rite of passage for high school students in Australia after graduation. They go onto the Gold Coast for a week or two and just have huge parties and go absolutely crazy. And so we parked the car and we kind of were walking through all these schoolies, and we were walking past a building, and these guys saw us because we'd kind of gone into our board shorts, but we still had our clown faces on. We just thought we'll just go into the ocean and wash them off in the ocean. And we're walking along there, and we heard some shouts out from really high up on one of the buildings. And these guys goes, "Clowns! Hey, come up to our party!" And we're like, "Oh, no, we're right, thanks. We're just going for something." "Come on, come up!" And we're like, "Oh, come on, man!" And we said, "Why not? It'll be fun." And so they gave us their room number, and we jumped up in the lifts and went all the way up to the top to the room number they gave us. And we knocked on the door, and there was nothing. We knocked again, and this tiny lady, I think she was maybe Chinese, she opened the door and looked at us and just screamed and slammed the door. And we're like, "No, it's not even the right room. They gave us the wrong number." And I said, now she's probably scared, and she's probably going to call the security. And like, what they look like? Oh, they had clown faces. I mean, how hard is it for us to hide? So we just legged it. I think we took the stairs all the way down and just legged it down to the beach. And even then, we were at the beach, I remember trying to scrub this stuff off our faces. And we're asking each other, "Oh, is it off?" I said, "No, it's just kind of smeared everywhere," because we didn't have the makeup removal stuff. And
I think we're still wearing our clown pants, but we'd taken off our clown top and wig, but we had like fluoro clown pants on and like smeared face. It was quite obvious that we were trying to hide our identity. And then remember the other time, we used to do Christmas parties as well, and we used to do work functions. This was for a large soft drink manufacturer, and we were dressed up in, I was a grasshopper, and I got to rollerblade for this one. I was on my rollerblades with the grasshopper uniform. Were you there for that one, Kama?
it doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, maybe you weren't there. Anyway, there was all this free food and free soft drink because it's a big soft drink manufacturer. Some might say the biggest in the world. And we had these sacks which we would put our balloon animals in, big pillow sacks, and we filled those up with soft drinks and took them home. And then there was a complaint to the manager about that one. But at this stage we were like, "Oh, whatever, I don't even care. It was worth it."
Yeah.
But tell them a story about when you were dressed as a grasshopper and some people thought it would be a good idea to pick you up.
Yeah. So during this job, like I got spat on, I got my ass pinched, but once as a grasshopper, I got thrown into a garden. I don't even really remember much of it except other than just getting thrown into a garden. This was on the Gold Coast as well. It was a really tough gig.
Because your vision's quite impaired in that uniform.
Yeah, well, I had some pictures. I saw some pictures of it lately, and there was nothing on the face. So maybe but I remember maybe it was a crocodile. Yeah. My memory's a bit hazy on that one. But I also remember coming back to one of those hardware stores. Like they were good because you'd have a good solid 8 hours of hours for those days. And but they were also tough because you just had so many people. But I remember these kids, they were probably 13 or something, and this was in a pretty rough area. He goes, "Oh, clown, can I shake your hand?" And I always try to kind of get on the good side of those kind of kids because I can kind of identify with them. But I shake his hand and it feels really wet. I look down and there's all this phlegm in my hand. And then he just kind of laughs and walks away, and I was like, oh, that is disgusting. Like, this is not worth.
Obviously a pre-COVID joke.
Absolutely, yeah. No, well, I mean, some people probably still do, unfortunately.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think my toughest weekend
Yeah.
was the weekend that you quit. You and the other. The manager and a couple of the other, I think maybe the manager's partner, they went up to PNG to do a job up there. And so I can't remember if it was her own mother or her mother-in-law, but was in charge of the clowning for that weekend. And she had never clowned before, but she was also going on. And so normally our boss had no problems orchestrating everything from Brisbane, but this poor lady was way over her head. And on this particular day, just before you were due to do some clowning, you and one of the other clowns just suddenly quit because you'd had enough of it. And anyway, I was there when I think she got the phone call, and she was stressed out of her mind, and she started to complain about it to me.
You're in the office, were you, when we called up?
I was ready to go for a job, and so she was telling me how bad it was. I said, look, I probably agree, but I probably wouldn't push me too hard because I'm actually still here. And I just remember that being one of the most uncomfortable jobs in my life. And I think towards the end she realised as well that it wasn't me that had suddenly quit, but that was a wild day. Do you remember what it was that had led to that moment?
Oh, it was just I was working 3 jobs at that stage and doing full-time study, and I just didn't they were just the pay wasn't good, and they were just making us do too many in a day, and it was just so stressful. And I think, oh no, that's right, I do remember now. The husband, he used to work as a manager for a automotive parts industry, and he came in and he started cost cutting, already very lucrative and very lean business as it was. He came in and started cost cutting more and more, going, all right, our lolly bags are stuffed too much, we need to halve them. All right, balloon animals, all right, we only give the kids 1 each. All right, and he started putting in all these restrictions, and it's like, mate, I think you're already getting enough profit. It's just, how about you just do a better job and maybe go for this corporate stuff like that you're doing. Like, you don't want to start making the normal parties, which is your lifeblood, more povo. And so I think that was one of the catalysts for why I left.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I left soon after as well, I remember. Well, I think I went overseas, and then when I came back, instead of going back there to get a job there, I found a job in a kitchen instead, which was, better hourly pay, but also more hours as well. And you were in one spot, and you just kind of hunker down. You'd also get some free food and stuff like that you could take home, so that helped me save money. And in terms of having a part-time job to earn some cash, it was a much better choice. But in terms of experiences, I had some great times being a clown.
And that was the main reason why we're doing it, was because it was fun, and we wanted something different where we could go out, meet people, and do something different. It wasn't for the money, because I was getting paid the same amount, or I'd get paid more for a day working in a chicken shop than I would working as a clown. So it definitely wasn't for the money.
Cool. Well, I think that's a good place to end it, Blowy.
I agree, Kama.
I'm going to take the camera down afterwards, and I'll show you how crazy the river is.
Oh, good, because we're a lot of dropouts, but I look forward to seeing your frothy river, Kama.
You know what to do,
Right,
Blowy.
we'll see you next time. Boom.
As promised, I said I'd come and show you the river. It's running really wild. Now this river is normally just a trickle of really clean, pristine, clear water. But now, as you can see, it's pretty crazy. And there's a cool little bridge over here as well. But you can see that water's moving really fast. You fall in there, you're in trouble. See ya.